Moms, it's time for another Gut Love Live session. How are you today? I hope you guys are doing well. It is Thursday, it's 2 p.m., and do you know what that means? Yep, it means we're back. We do these Gut Love Live sessions every Thursday at 2 p.m., and I'm so glad that you are watching this video and joining us for this one. It's going to be a good one, so I got my big girl cup. I hope you guys have time to just take a break. If you're watching this, you're probably a mom. So I hope you have time to take a break, grab a cup of tea, and just join us for a good gut-loving conversation. And this is a big one. So I've got my big girl cup here with my tea in it, chamomile today. I'm just going to take a sip. And for those of you that are Gilmore Girls fans, you'll get this reference. I feel like Alexis Bledel because now I know what it's like to have to hold one of these on live video. And you know what? I do look like kind of a little weird holding it just like she did. So I get it. I get it, Alexis. All right, one more sip. Okay, guys, so if you're here and you're live, feel free to say hi. Let us know that you're here. And if you are here, you probably are dealing with chronic gut struggles. You're a mom and you're dealing with chronic gut struggles like Crohn's and colitis, celiac, IBS, chronic bloating, gas, constipation, diarrhea. You know that stuff that nobody wants to talk about? Yeah, all that stuff. That's the stuff you're probably dealing with. And guess what? Here, we talk about it. We get to talk about it here. We talk about it with wild abandon. In fact, we get to the bottom of it. Yeah, I know, kind of bad pun, but we do. We get to the bottom of it. This is a place where you can actually talk about this stuff. And today, I want to get really real with you guys. I want to have an honest conversation with you about what it's really like to live on the specific carbohydrate diet. Are you on this diet? Have you thought about trying it? If you have those chronic gut issues, like I was just talking about, if you have those chronic gut issues, then you may have heard of this diet. It's the kind of diet that can really be life-changing. It can turn your life around 180 degrees. It is that powerful. So you might have heard about it and you might be thinking, I wonder if it's for me. I wonder if it's something that I could benefit from. And so that's what I wanted to talk with you about it and why I wanted to talk with you about it today, because I wanted you to be able to make a decision. You know, last week we talked about this specific carbohydrate diet. I actually got to answer questions from moms in the Gut Love community, answer their questions about the specific carbohydrate diet. And I wanted to just close this series, bring it full circle, and really get to the heart of it so that you could make that decision, that final decision for you to know, is it something that you want to do? Is it something that calls to you? And not only that, but what is it really like? And that's why I want to go behind the scenes here. I want to take you behind the scenes because I've been on this specific carbohydrate diet for years. I think I left you guys for a second. You know, all those technical challenges that we have when, oh goodness, are we back? I think maybe we're back. Okay, so if this sounds like something that you're interested in, then you're gonna love this conversation. If you want a real honest look, an honest look at what it's like to be on the specific carbohydrate diet, then this is definitely a conversation worth watching. But before we get started, let me just tell you a little bit about me. Just in case you're new to the Gut Love community and you haven't seen one of these videos before, my name is Karen and I'm the digestive coach for moms. And that means that I help moms when they're ready to move beyond medicine, to quiet their gut symptoms so they can be the mom they always dreamed they'd be. Can I get a yes? Yes for that. Who doesn't want to be the mom they always dreamed they could be? And unfortunately, when we have gut struggles and gut issues like Crohn's and colitis, it can really stop us in our tracks. It can really prevent us from being that mom that we know that we want and can be. And if that sounds like something that you want to do, if it sounds like you would really like to heal your gut struggles, then I want you to join us. Join us in the Gut Love community. I recently started this community just for moms that are going through this, so that you could have a place where you could get support and guidance, empowerment, and really just have that conversation where there's no judgment. There's no judgment from other moms, and there's nobody saying, oh, we can't talk about that. That's not polite conversation. We don't talk about our bowel movements, and we don't talk about our poop. This is a place where you can do that. No judgment. And not only that, but moms that really understand where you're coming from, because they're moms that are dealing with the same thing as you are. Okay, that is what I wanted to share with you guys. If you haven't already, join us in the Gut Love community. It's really a nurturing and supportive place. It's absolutely free for moms that are going through these gut struggles. Now, if you want to join us in the Gut Love community, I urge you to click the link. It's right above this video. Click the link and join us. Okay, let's get started with our topic for today. I'm just going to get comfortable, take one more sip of my big girl tea. See this? You can't hold this and look good while you're doing it. You got to have another hand. I'm about to drop it, actually. You got to have another hand. That's good. If you are joining us live and you're just hanging out and having a cup of tea, let me know what kind of tea are you having. It's chamomile for me today. I know, not all that like exciting or anything, but that's what I'm having today. Okay, I'm just going to sit back so we can start this conversation. Okay, so I wanted to give you a real, I just jerked the camera. I think it's okay. I wanted to give you a really honest take about what it's like when you live, and actually you pretty much eat, sleep, and breathe this diet. It consumes your life that much. So I wanted to give you a really honest description of what it's like. So I started thinking about it. Like I told you, I've been doing this for 9 years now. So you obviously know that I lean towards this diet, especially for me. It's worked for a lot of clients that I have, but that's not to say that it's going to be the end all be all, even the best option for you. It may not be that option for you at all. It does tend to, research says that it does tend to work for most people, but it doesn't work for everybody. And the question also is it worth it? Is it even worth it for you, right? Because it does take a lot of your time, and it is really different. And so that's why I just wanted to be really honest with you today, so that you could make that decision. Is it something that you want to do? Or if you've just started and you're kind of feeling like in the trenches with it, if you're feeling that way, I want you to be able to make that decision. Do I want to stay with it? Okay, so let's talk about this. I'm kind of a glass is half full kind of girl, so I got to start with the positive. So I wrote these down. And like I said, I've been doing this for 9 years, so it's been a while, and that gave me a lot of time to kind of figure out the good, the bad, and the ugly of this. So here goes. Okay, so number one. Okay, so like I said, glass is half full kind of girl, so I got to start with the positive. So the positive is it helps. The positive is that it helps. It's helped me. It's helped countless moms and dads, people all over the world. So it does work. And I have to be honest with you here and tell you that not only does it work, but it crazy works. So before I was on this eating plan, I spent 20 years with Crohn's disease, feeling just really awful. So pain, bloating, gas, multiple trips to the bathroom, 3 surgeries, 2 of those, one of those for a rectal abscess, 2 of those to remove about 4.5 feet of my bowel, so almost 10 feet of my small intestine removed, in just feeling like life was hard. And after I started this specific carbohydrate diet, and I don't say this to be dramatic, because I know it does not work this way for everybody. So I have to be really honest and tell you that these results may not be your results. Because I see when I work with people, it doesn't always work out this way. it can take up to a few months to know if it's working for you. But I have to tell you guys, for me, it took a week. Not for me to be healed, for me to be all better, to me to say, amen, I'm like the heavens have lifted and I'm like good to go now. Not that, but it took me 1 week to say, I actually am feeling better. There's actually a change here. And that change for me was that I had less pain. And I had been having pain pretty much every day of my life. In fact, I'll tell you a quick story here. I remember my wedding day, which was probably 5 years prior, no, probably even more, 10 years prior to when I started the specific carbohydrate diet. So I think it was about 9 or 10 years before, on my wedding day, when I got married, I remember saying to myself, oh, please, please let me get through this day without pain. Because I hadn't had, from the time I was 14 years old and I was diagnosed, I hadn't had a day without pain. And I know you guys can relate to what I'm talking about. I hadn't had a day without pain. I hadn't had a day with chronic diarrhea. So I just prayed, please, 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 let me enjoy this wedding day. I don't want to be in my full, and I had one of those like full on skirts for my gown, right? So I don't want to be in the bathroom having to poop. Not to get really graphic about it, but this is what was going through my head. I don't want to have to be in the bathroom pooping all day in my wedding dress, and I don't want to have to be having my vows and I am having like awful stomach pain. So to get through my wedding, I actually took a bunch of Imodium. I know you guys are familiar with Imodium. Everybody is, right? It helps when you have diarrhea, because I just thought, it's going to help with the day. And to be perfectly honest, it actually did. It actually did help. It helped until about midnight, when then I did have to use the bathroom. But it did actually help, and it helped me enjoy the day. But we shouldn't have to do that. But that's what life was like for me before. And within 1 week of starting this new way of eating, I could see the light at the end of the tunnel. I could see that there was hope. I could see that my pain was lessening and the diarrhea was less. And that happened to me within 1 week of starting it. Now, again, I wasn't healed within that 1 week, but I could see that path was starting for me. One of the things that was challenging in the beginning was carbohydrate withdrawal. Yes, it's actually a real thing. Did you know that? I didn't know that until I had it myself. I was so addicted to carbs because they were like bland foods that I thought I could eat. Bread and pasta and things like that. Cereal, right? I thought, oh, those are bland. I can eat those and it'll stay with me. So I was so addicted. And I'm an Italian girl too. So I come from a family where everywhere you go, it's how about some pasta? How about some more pasta? So when I actually got off of these things, this high carb laden food, I felt really bad. And some of the things you go through on carbohydrate withdrawal are extreme hunger, extreme irritability, and moodiness. And so I was kind of like emotionally a mess, but I could still see that there was a light at the end of the tunnel. So to get back to what I was saying here, because I got off on that long wedding tangent, to get back to what I was saying, yes, it works. It makes a difference. It helps. I think I was telling you guys last week that it helps in statistically about 75% of people that try it. And that's pretty huge. And I had a goal for myself. I wanted to get off of my medication, and that was just my own personal goal. You might want to do this in conjunction with the medication that you're taking. But my own personal goal was I want to get off all of my medicine, and at the time I was taking immunosuppressive drugs. And I want to get off all of it within 1 year. Right? I was realistic. I knew that after 20 years of being on this, I'm not going to be able to get off of it right away. So that was my goal. I was going to get off of it within 1 year. Well, within 6 months, I felt so good. I felt so good on this eating plan that I stopped. I just stopped it. Now, I'm not advocating that for you guys. I'm not saying that's what you should do. You should definitely talk to your doctor. But that's what I did. And it worked. It worked for me. I went off of it. That was in 2009, and I haven't been on any medication since. Okay, so I started with the positive. Let's see. I want to keep this balanced, so let's now talk about a negative. keeping it real, just keeping it honest, what sucks about the specific carbohydrate diet? Okay, here's another one. What sucks about the specific carbohydrate diet, what makes it challenging, is that it is not a cure. When I say it works, that doesn't mean that I'm saying it's a cure. It is my lifelong dream. It is my wish to say to you, I have the cure for your chronic gut struggles. The magic pill, the magic food, the magic whatever, we would all take that, wouldn't we? If anybody tells you that the specific carbohydrate diet is the cure for their Crohn's or colitis or other chronic gut struggles, they're just plain wrong. It is not a cure. Now, that's not to say that you could maybe go through your whole life and never have symptoms again. There actually are people that it works like that for. I'm not one of those people, and most people are not like that. But it is not a cure. It can quiet your symptoms, okay? But the specific carbohydrate diet is not an X marks the spot destination. It's not a, if you do this, if you follow this direct route, you will end up at destination health. It is not that. But what it is, and if you guys have kids, and if your kids are of reading age, you're totally going to get this. You guys know those choose your own adventure books? I don't think that they have them for adults. Maybe they do. Maybe they have them for adults. But if you have kids and they're of chapter book reading age, you know what I'm talking about. Those choose your own adventure books. If you are familiar with those choose your own adventure books, then you know what I'm talking about. This is what I equate the specific carbohydrate diet to. You get to a certain point in the book, and then there's two paths, path A and path B. And which path should I take, right? That's the question. Well, if you take path A, you're heading down the path towards health. And you might stay there. You might get through the book and nothing bad happens to you. Or if you take a detour, if you maybe choose the wrong path at some point, something not so good will happen, right? We know how these books are. But the good news is you can then choose another path. Okay, so that's how I equate the specific carbohydrate diet. It is not your destination health. It is not a cure, but it can quiet your symptoms. It can be a roller coaster of a ride, but it can quiet your symptoms. One other thing I wrote down that I wanted to say about this is that the specific carbohydrate diet is really an amazing gut balancing program. The problem that we're all having here with gut struggles is an imbalance of our gut bacteria. Have you heard that term microbiome? So we all have this microbiome, all of these good bugs and bad bugs, and they're all running around our gut. And they affect not only what's coming out of us, in terms of our poop, but they also will have a great effect, this gut bacteria, it will have great effect on your headaches, your mood, your brain fog, your skin, your joints, any arthritis, inflammation. It has to do with all of that. And so the specific carbohydrate diet can get all of that in balance. But guess what? That balance is really tricky and it's really hard to keep. It can constantly be in flux. And so you can get out of balance easily. Now, because I have my Choose Your Own Adventure book, because I have this roller coaster that's going to take me in different directions and twists and turns, now that I have that map, that twisty, windy, curvy map, now I can get back to that balance quicker. But just because you start the diet doesn't mean you're always going to be in balance. There's times when you may have to go back to the intro plan, or you may have to make some tweaks. Maybe the food that worked for you before doesn't work for you now. Like I found out on the specific carbohydrate diet, and I didn't know this before, that even though peppers are SCD legal, so on the specific carbohydrate diet, there's legal foods and illegal foods. So even though on the specific carbohydrate diet, the pepper is legal, I found out early on that it does not work for me. And for a while, it worked if I roasted the pepper and peeled the skin off. Well, now it just doesn't work at all. Peppers just don't work for me. And the reason that I know that is because I backed it up completely. With this diet, you completely back it up. You start at the beginning. You almost start eating like a baby again, I have to say, because there's only a few foods that you're eating in the beginning, and then you're adding on one food at a time. Doesn't that remind you of what it was like when you had kids and you were introducing them to new foods? Yeah, it's a lot like that. So you're backing it up and you're adding one food at a time. So you may find that there's foods that you can eat, foods that you can't eat. It's kind of a roller coaster, but not exactly a cure. It can quiet your symptoms considerably. In fact, like I said, there may be some people that never have to do anything different again. This is the diet that works for them, and they don't have to do anything, right? But it isn't a cure. All right, so that's just some honest feedback about what it really is like. I want to tell you a couple other things that I wrote down. Okay, I said a negative, so now I got to say a positive. And where is my positive? Oh, here I go. Okay, so the specific carbohydrate diet, it can give you ridiculous clarity on what's going on with your body. And what do I mean by that? You can become so in tune. Remember that pepper analogy I was just telling you about, where it wasn't an analogy, it was an example. I don't know why I said the word analogy, but it was an example where I found out that peppers did not work for me. So if you're on this eating plan, you're going to, because you went back and you started eating like when you were a baby, really, and you're adding one food at a time, you're going to learn your body so well, inside and out. You're going to know exactly what foods are your triggers. And so that's really one of the benefits of this diet. Yeah, I guess that's all I want to say about this. You're just going to learn about your body so well. I cannot tell you, but because I know my body so well, when that bacteria gets out of balance, I can get it back in check so quickly. So I love that. I love that about the specific carbohydrate diet. I love that, just the simple fact that because foods were introduced so slowly, it helps me just really know my body well. And it can do that for you too. Okay, now we got to say the negative, something that I was thinking about, keeping it real, keeping it honest. Something that is kind of challenging about this diet is that I miss some of my old foods. And you might find that to be the case for you too. So I really never thought about this before. In fact, I would have said no, I don't miss my old foods. I have a son who is my middle son. I have 3 boys, but my middle one, my 13-year-old, he says to me all the time, he's the empath in our family. He's always thinking about, he wears his heart on his sleeve, right? He's one of those kind of kids, and he's always thinking about what is it like for somebody else to experience X or Y, right? What is it like for them? And so he'll say to me, so let's say they're having pizza, they're having gluten-free pizza for dinner, and I can't have that because it has grains in it. And so he'll say to me, Mom, do you want to have that pizza? Not that he's tempting me to eat it, but he's asking me, do you miss it? Do you want to have that pizza? Is it hard for you to not eat the pizza? And my answer to him was always just flat out, no, it's not really that hard. And the reason it's not hard is because I don't think I'd be here. Without the specific carbohydrate diet, I don't think I'd be here. I started the specific carbohydrate diet because a doctor said to me, there's nothing else I can do for you. You've already had almost 10 feet of your small intestine removed. There's nothing, we just can't help you anymore. What? Right? That's how I came to the specific carbohydrate diet. So between not being here for my kids and my family and my friends and everybody that I love, between that and the specific carbohydrate diet, yeah, I'll pick the can I talk? I'll pick the specific carbohydrate diet. Say that 3 times fast. It's a tongue twister. I'll pick that anytime. I would pick that over eating that pizza, right? So it was always like a no-brainer for me. But when I thought about the things and I was thinking about this video and what I would say to you guys and trying to be really honest about the things that suck about it, I thought, you know what? Actually, there are a couple things that I miss. I miss my grandmother's apple pie. My grandmother made the best apple pie. And I miss my Italian grandmother, so my grandmother on the other side. I miss her spaghetti sauce. I miss being able to eat the pasta with her spaghetti sauce. And I miss the Thanksgiving yeast rolls that my dad always makes. And now all I can do when he makes them, because he still makes them at Thanksgiving, I just smell them, right? Because I don't ever cheat. Because I know that if I do, it's going to be really tragic for me. It's not going to go well. So do I miss food? Yeah, some food I miss. But if there's a substitute for it on the specific carbohydrate diet, no, I don't tend to miss it. So, for example, like pizza. So my kids might be having pizza that's gluten-free. Well, I'm going to have the specific carbohydrate diet pizza. And I actually kind of like that better. There's lots of things that I can make a substitute for. Cookies, breads, pancakes, and I actually like them better. But when there really isn't a substitute, I have to tell you, when it comes to foods that are special to your family, and you grew up with those, and it not only do you like the taste, but it conjures up a memory for you, those kinds of foods, yeah, you might miss. You may miss those on the specific carbohydrate diet. Okay, let's get to something positive I can tell you that happens from it. It opens up a whole new world of natural living. A whole new world. And this may seem like to you like, yeah, so, but oh my gosh, I have to tell you, I was the traditional standard American diet person. Natural life was not something that was really something that I thought of. I realized that restorative yoga could be really powerful and healing. And what else? Natural methods for treating a cold, for treating the flu. Those things are really powerful. So opening up this world of the specific carbohydrate diet, starting with using food as medicine, helped open this whole world up to me. This whole world of, wow, there are foods out there, and it's not only that, there's supplements, and there's herbs, and there's ways that you can use your mind to help calm your symptoms. So this whole world opened up to me. And not only did that benefit me, but it benefited my family. So you can look at it that way too. This whole thing that you're doing or thinking of doing, it can actually benefit your family. When you're open to this new natural world, when your kid says, Mom, I've got a headache, or I've got a cold, or I think the flu is coming on, you will now be open to using these natural remedies for these things. And even as far as cancer, that's something that I even now have experience with, because it opened this whole world for me. And I've told you guys before that my mom is battling liver cancer. And so one of the things that I've done in conjunction with her chemotherapy is add on these natural type of treatments and helps for her. So she kind of combines them both. But without the specific carbohydrate diet, without that catalyst to start me on that path, I never would have learned any of that. So that's really one of the wonderful things that it's opened up. I have one more for you, one more real, true thought about what it's really like behind the scenes on the specific carbohydrate diet. And this one is a not so good one. So for me, and I would say for the clients I work with too, so probably this would happen for you too, I had to say goodbye to the quick meals and some of the restaurants that I was used to. So I gotta be really honest and tell you that being on the specific carbohydrate diet, it does require a little bit more time in the kitchen. A little bit more time cooking, a little bit more time baking. It doesn't mean it's gourmet. It does not have to be gourmet. It does not ever have to be fancy. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that. But you will end up spending more time in the kitchen. It's just kind of a fact, because we can't go to the store and buy most of our food. We can get the whole ingredients to make things like bread or really anything. You know, we make these things. So even like spaghetti sauce, for example, I'm making my own spaghetti sauce. So you can't go to the store and buy these things. You have to spend the time at home making them. And so it definitely takes a little bit more time to do that. More time than you're used to. So I want to tell you, how does that look in real life? What does that actually look like? I mean, I could say it takes more time and there's restaurants you probably won't be able to go to, but I really want to give you a concrete example of how it looks for me in my life. So here's how that looks. Maybe I'm spending more time eating in the car because it took longer to make my food. And so now my kids have to get to school. And so I'm eating my food in the car instead of sitting at home eating with my kids. That may happen at dinner too, because it's going to take me longer to make something that I need to make. I may not always be sitting down at the same time to eat with my family. Now, I always make sure that I sit with them, but I might still be like getting up to get things, getting up to finish my food. I just want to be honest with you. Sometimes these things happen on the specific carbohydrate diet. It means bringing my food pretty much everywhere I go, to restaurants, to a friend's house, when I travel. So it does take a little bit extra time to bring your food with you on those times when you do that. What else? The whole process just takes more time. And so it's about deciding, is this worth it for you? And you might be thinking now, well, why the heck? Why would I do this? She had so many negatives about it. Why would I do this specific carbohydrate diet thing? It's really simple. I have a really simple answer for you. The reason to do it is because it works. The reason to do it is because it can get you your life back. And who doesn't want that? Who here? What mom that's struggling with gut challenges, did you hear how I said that? Who here that's struggling with gut challenges doesn't want to get their life back? I do it. I recommend it to clients because it works. It works and it can give you your life back. Now, I don't want to leave you with just that. I want you to know that I am here to answer those questions that you might have. The conversation about the specific carbohydrate diet doesn't have to end here. If you have questions, feel free to put them in the comments below. If you want your comments and questions and thoughts about this to be private, please feel free to message me. You can message me right here on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram, Karen Haley's Gut Love, at Karen Haley's Gut Love on Instagram. You can check me out there and you can message me there as well. I want to be able to answer your questions because I want this to become clear for you. Whether it's a clear yes or it's a clear no, I really want you to be able to make that decision for you. So I'm here to answer your questions. Today, I just wanted to kind of give you just a few tips, a few ideas about what's great about it and frankly, what's not so great about the specific carbohydrate diet. For me, the best thing is that it works. It works, and so I do it because it works. That does not guarantee it's going to work for you, but it probably is worth you trying. It's probably worth trying it. And if you try it for 30 days to 3 months, just try and adhere to it as much as possible so that you can really decide, is this the eating plan for me? And if you do that, you'll know. You'll know for sure. I'm here for you. I'm here to answer your questions. I'm here to support you on your gut-loving journey. That's what I want for you. If this information was powerful for you, if you're a mom and you're dealing with gut struggles, join us in the Gut Love community. It's a free group where we moms get support. There's no judgment, and it's a place to be with other moms that are going through the same kind of gut struggles that you're going through. If you want to join us in the Gut Love community, it's a great group of moms. Just click the link above this video. I will be back next week, same time, same place, 2 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, and we'll have another Gut Love conversation. I can't wait till then. So until we meet again, I'm going to wish you much gut love, much happiness, always. Bye for now.